the mechanics of this, I wanted to bring around an idea. This would be a fishtail, or is a fishtail. One of the other things that you might want to address is that you want to drop this material, whether it be the full length of the bar, but you want to bring it out all to the same width. I'm actually going to come back to about here and get it to come in to about the same width. I have two ways of doing that. I can either create a isolation here by creating a set down, or I can just hammer down and create what is still essentially a set down, but with the hammer face from this side. So that is the taper, and in order to get this same width, I'm going to have to drop the material to the same thickness. So my angle of hammer would be like this. Instead, if I dropped it to more of a flat hammer blow, starting at the back here, fanning left and right, moving forwards through the mass, and drifting backwards and forwards in order to get that material to spread evenly. Okay? It's got a little bit of a lean to the left or to the right, so I could elongate through that right hand side, which would straighten it up a little bit. And then in side profile, it's basically a spatula. The reason I want to show that is to help you understand that to flatten the bar always pretty much would start with a fishtail type construct. That would set your width. Okay? So once you've set that width at the tip, you then know what your yield of width of material is going to be. Theoretically, if I have 1/4x1, I should be able to drop this material by half material thickness, so drop it to 1/8, and it will yield mathematically in a perfect world 2 inches wide. I know for a fact it's not going to do that because I also get linear movement, but that would in theory do what it will do. So understanding that I'm probably only going to get half that width, so probably max out at about 1.5 inches. Right? So I'll do it in steam. Right, so nice and flat, nice flat hammer blows instead of at an angle, coming down, creeping backwards. So, that has started my baseline. What I'm trying to do is keep this even as I go, and you can see my material thickness has started to create a set there, about even on the same side, with a bit of a thick section right there at that shoulder, so here and here. As I come in on the next heat, I'm going to start fanning. I'll start at the back here, fan this, see if I can get it close to the same width as that, move forwards, come back down again. Okay? Back in the fire. And you can create, a lot of the colonial work had motifs based upon this kind of idea, where you had a flat bar or a square bar or a round bar that was then flattened, create a decorative motif, and just controlling that mass of where it goes to create the motif, put the material in the right place. Because steel and iron were so expensive, you wanted to use it to the best of your ability without having to grind or file. There we go. Starting at the back, getting a nice fanning. Consciously trying to work more in the back, 2/3 of my hammer face. There we go. You can see the thickness in relation to that. I have that thick section where that narrow section is. So ideally I should be able to fan backwards and forwards to bring that material out. You see how the construct doesn't change. I could, if I wanted to, instead of starting with the fishtail at the far end, I could start with my isolation. So that set down area or that flattened area, to get that to push out. That then gives me my baseline width, and I just keep fanning down or running lines down in order to get that material to spread out, to make that spatula formation. Right. If you were, say, doing a racked eye for an axe, this is essentially what you'd be doing. You'd pick a section of the material, flatten it, and spread it. Okay. Back to here, try to get that mass to move. Fan it to the right and left. So you'll see that I've done that without doing any side work on it. And yet I've managed to create a pretty well maintained width on my material. I don't know how consistent it is, but have a quick gander. So back here, I'm hitting about 2.5, which is what I predicted. And down here, I'm maybe a 1/16 wider, which is expected because I'm marginally narrower there from the initial fishtail. So that gives you a good idea. I could go ahead and do a little bit of side work just to really dress that out. I may as well do that now, and that'll have us done with that construct. Hope it gives you a little bit of clarity. Spreading is just a mechanics thing. You've just got to understand that if you move evenly side to side, watching that mass of the material, if I always fan to the right hand side, the general mass will move to the right. If I always fan to the left hand side, it will always move to the left. So the idea of fanning evenly left and right, when you start seeing anomalies occurred, so like a sallow area, know that there should be a mass there, turn it up on edge, see if there is a mass there. If there is, then you can address it and pull it out. If, however, there isn't a mass there, you're going to have to try and break material from over this side into that void, which is sometimes a little troublesome. All right, a little bit more of a fan at the bottom here, get that touch more width. There we go. Blending out. And now that I'm into a low temperature, I can turn this piece, which is pretty skinny, it's sub-8, just gently, nice flat hammer blows, run down the side, making sure that you're presenting the haft of your material flat to the anvil plane as best you can. There we go, a nice flattened, even piece of material.